Good evening, everyone, and welcome to my second Atom Talk. My name is DalSifoDyas, and I'm slightly less nervous than last time. Besides that, I'm also a concept art teacher for the AU and a concept art co-lead for the Skywind project. And today I'll hopefully teach you all some concept art. So this time I'll introduce myself a bit more, since I want you to be able to decide if you want to trust me and what I say. So I'm going to show you my own progress and my history. Then we'll do a super quick recap of my last talk. And then most important thing, how to approach a design task from beginning to end. So, about me. I've always been drawing. I crawled out of my mom and demanded a pen and paper. Also, hello mama. So she's listening to this on YouTube. She's also an artist, and I was always surrounded by art. So you might be shocked how much I sucked until the recent years at drawing. I started digitally in 2006. I expect some of you weren't even born back then, but I'm old. I was already around in 2006. And look at all the cool stuff Photoshop can do. I got some lens flare in there, cool frame, cool brushes, amazing art right here. Like, you don't need to draw, you can just use Photoshop effects. In 2010, I got a little bit better. I stopped fl- just using unlimited amount of filters for everything. The colors got less garish, but I still never heard of values or anything like that. In 2014, the mood of the image got better, but apparently perspective wasn't invented until 2014, or at least I haven't heard of it back then. And then 2015 rolled around. In that year, I made a promise to myself to get better, to a level where I like what I created. And to achieve that, I did three things. I subscribed to an online art school. You can ask me later which online art school I chose, but I won't say the name here. Those were just video courses. I didn't get any feedback, and many free videos are just on the same level as these paid videos were, just not neatly packed into a course. I don't want to give the impression that you need to pay someone to get better. I started reading the big pile of books I had. Most books we have listed in our wiki I owned in 2015, but I never did much with them or even remotely understood them. And I started using references, and I never used references before. I don't know what the fuck was wrong with me. References felt like cheating to me, and that's stupid. Sitting down and studying instead of just drawing mindlessly helped me so much. Drawing mindlessly is fun and fine, but it won't help you get better. And I started adding a lot of mileage by sketching more and not trying to make an artwork out of everything. This doesn't actually fit here, but it was pretty much the first kind of concept art I ever did, so I wanted to throw it in as well. As you can see, I actually started doing analog drawings again. Working slower, having to concentrate more, better overview of the paper, I wholeheartedly recommend working analog from time to time. And I did more. So much more. And the results starting getting better. And more, and more, and more. Just more studying, more working with references, and more and more and more. More. In 2018, I all of a sudden knew what values are, how depth works, what perspective is, that perspective exists. I looked into color theory, stopped relying so much on outlines, and got more painterly. Eventually, I produced some original artwork stuff I was really proud of. None of these things are concept art. I was a comic artist and an artwork artist. And you have to believe me about the comic stuff since I didn't show it here. So, about my concept art for Skyrim. First off, a big disclaimer. I'm not a professional in the industry. I just do art in my free time. Everything I know about concept art I learned during my time with Skyrim, mostly from my concept art lead, who does actually work in the industry. And that knowledge is what I try to convey to people since I joined the AU as a teacher. I did armors, the ringmail armor, for example, environmental stuff, the cliff racer nest, monster art. This was actually my first assignment, or my test assignment, the Dark Seducer. Weapons. Last time I showed the glass weapon set. I also did Thunder and Keening and Raveguard and Mystery Guard. More clutter, Daedra clutter to be more specific. Indoor tile sets, pretty much all of Redoran interior, though I still have to finish the ceilings for that set. Um, Another monster, the Ascended Sleeper, and some buckler and also shields. And on top of that, I also did various amount of decals, book covers, some paint overs for Vivek City, and things which are actually secret, so I can't show them. And that's me. Really, this is my stuff, and I hope you can now decide for yourself if you think my advice might end up being helpful for you or if I'm full of bullshit. So, a little too long didn't read of my last talk. You can actually just watch it on YouTube. As we said before, we have the last Atom talks on YouTube. However, there are two topics I want to repeat since I feel they're very important. First, the foundation on which you want to build your art career. Discipline. We can offer you knowledge, feedback you, help you with the methodology, but you need to sit down and learn. And as someone who never did their homework, it pains me to say this, but consider treating your art training like homework. Do it every day. In the same vein, time management and discipline are closely connected. Consider doing some training drawings for an hour before you boot up your new video game. It's so important to just have this ability to really have your day scheduled in a certain way that you have time to draw. And this time management is really what in the end got certain artists to the level they are now, because they just dedicated a certain amount of time every day to learning. The next thing, health management. Don't underestimate what sitting all day does to you. I assume you're all a bit younger, but I can tell you from experience, once you enter your 30s, your sinful past life will creep up to you. And being in pain sucks. Back pain, ass pain, leg pain, arm pain, whatever. Do sport, move, drink water, stay active and healthy. You need your body to being able to draw. Also, I'm going to drink water now. Hang on. Great. Next up, the fundamentals. We want to concentrate on teaching you how to do concept art, since we don't have the manpower to teach you in detail about fundamentals. The fundamentals are form, perspective, values, rendering or shading, and color. Depending on who you ask, some might add anatomy to that, or maybe add more or remove one point, but generally, this is what you need to know. And every decent artist usually knows those things. And we might often refer to a fundamental for you to work on and tell you to read a book or check out some YouTube for your video for you to help. But you are the one who needs to sit down and learn them. And besides those super general basic skills, which every artist needs, there are specific core areas for a concept artist to concentrate on. You should be innovative. And don't worry, being innovative is a skill. Also, I can't pronounce the word innovative, I'm sorry. It does come more easy to some, but with training and time, you will be able to create more innovative and interesting designs. I wish I could give you a more specific advice on this, but to be perfectly honest, I'm also still on my journey to become a better designer. Last time I showed these spaceship designs by Eric Gauss as an example for a really innovative approach. You can find inspiration for an idea everywhere. We just need to stay open-minded. So if you find resources on how to become more innovative, please share them. Thank you. The next thing is you need to be able to communicate your ideas in a way so someone else would be able to understand and translate them into another medium. Unless you're working with Zix, because no matter how detailed you draw for Zix, he ignores it and just does his own shit in 3D. Forget about him. As a concept artist, you don't need to be an amazing artwork artist or paint the ceiling of the Vatican, but your technical abilities should be good enough that others easily understand what you created. And lastly, be quick. And this might sound super douchey. What do I mean with be quick? Well, know how much energy a design is worth. If your concept art lead asked for 5 iterations, do 5 iterations which read well and stop. There's no use in creating elaborate pieces of art for a simple brainstorming idea. Also, allow yourself to be a bit messy. As long as the idea can be understood, it's okay. You can save the beautiful render for the finished design. But during the designing process, don't waste your time on perfection. And also, literally be quick. Sometimes challenge yourself to draw quick. Make big, bold decisions. The energy will most likely translate into your design. To get into a quicker drawing style, make sure to draw daily. This will train your muscle memory and keep your skills sharp. Also, use shortcuts. Draw overs, references, photo bashing, kit bashing, it's all fair game. But of course, don't publish copyright infringing stuff. But all, but as long as it stays in-house, you got a lot of freedom. Besides the second point, the other two are soft skills. Boop. Which are kind of abstract to learn and also a bit harder to teach. Over time, you will gain experience in those areas and you will feel more confident in your own abilities. The most important part is stay open minded and be ready to change and adapt whenever you learn something new and try new things. Even if you end up not using them, it's almost always worth a shot. Secondly, and I'm not super sure I talked in depth about this the last time, but social media is a helpful tool to show others your art. It can help you to connect to other artists, and it might very well be necessary to get a job in the industry nowadays. However, if you continuously check too many other artists which are godlike, you might end up devaluating your own art in your own progress for yourself. This might lead to serious art blockade and takes enjoyment out of your own art. Also, constantly checking how many views or likes something that you drew has gotten isn't good for you. The numbers or nasty comments might end up hurting you. So don't allow others to hurt you in such a way. Be really mindful of your social media usage. Sometimes upload something and don't check on it for a few days. It might save you from so much anxiety. And please remember, if you draw something, you don't have to upload it. It's fine to do something for yourself. It's fine to experiment, not liking the result and throwing it away. All right, I'll stop preaching now. So let's get to the concept art stuff. For this presentation, I made up a task. Make a really badass Bosma armor or clothing set which is reminiscent of the Green Pact, because the Green Pact is just heavy metal. So, step 1. Find relevant information about the topic. And luckily, the Elder Scrolls has some great wiki pages. So go there and read. No draw, just read. Step 2. Read more. Learn about the Basma culture and the history. Learn about Valenwood. The weather there. Is it cold, warm, temperate? Check the geography. Their enemies. Maybe you can add a trophy or skull from an enemy culture. And now you might think, why? Why do I need to know all of this? Because the rule is show don't tell. And your design will enrich the world. It's a piece of the law. Just leaving all the explaining to the writing department is lame. Your design needs to fit the rest of the game, the general story and the universe and enriching it. And just creating something cool but meaningless will just leave you with a soulless design. Also, you should ask your writing team or lore team or whoever came up with the idea something like this. Who will wear the armor? Is it a common or a unique item? Depending on the answer, you can add much more individuality to a unique item, or you need to keep it more plain if it's a more widely available item. Otherwise, the repetition would be extremely obvious. Where will the player find it? Is it hard to achieve this item? Was it lying around in an old tomb for hundreds of years? Can you just buy it in a shop and it's freshly made in a great condition? And is it expensive or cheap? This will influence which material you should use. Is it light, mid, or heavyweight? Class? Is it lightweight or mid? Shit, sorry. Is it a light armor, mid armor, or a heavy armor, basically? Does it have any magical properties? So, basically, during this initial phase, you need to do two things. Learn about the lore, so your item fits naturally into the world and enrich it is. Learn about the gameplay aspects of the item, which specific function it needs to fulfill in the context of the game. Which leads me to the next big topic. Is this even for a game? I don't want to teach you concept art for Elder Scrolls modding projects. I want to teach you concept art in general. So let's sidestep the armor topic for 1 second and look over the horizon. For this, I'm going to use Andrew Loffer from the Warcraft franchise, and maybe this makes Nariel really happy, and I don't know who this dude is, but I just remember watching the Warcraft movie, and this was ticked me off for it. So Anduin exists in a game, in a movie, in a comic, and probably also in a book on some serials, I don't know. And I know he's a different age in all 3 images, but what I mostly want to show you is how concept art of a game, a live action movie, or a comic is different from each other. For a game, a 3D artist will have to create your design as a mesh. You need to know the weaknesses of the engine, its limitations, and also how complicated you are allowed to make it. For a movie, so excuse me. For a movie, someone will have to tailor the design or also CG it onto a human, but it should still work on top of a human being. For the comic, the design shouldn't be too complicated, or you might end up with a dead comic artist who has to repeatedly draw a super complicated design. And as someone who claims to be a comic artist, I can tell you, a really complicated drawing the same complicated character 100 times, it does things to you, not good things. So know who will have to work with your design. Talk with them and learn the limitations. All right, back to the Green Pact armor. Since this isn't an actual claim, I made up some rules for it. It will be a light armor. If the whole set is worn, it will increase the player's sneak skill. It is unique. It is really old. The player can find it in a big old tree. It is hard to get and or hard to find. And it's unrelated to the temperature, not particularly hot or cold area based. The law will limit us in regards to the material. Since the Green Pact forbids any kind of plants to be harmed, we can only use animal products. And on a technical limitation, it needs to work with other sets. So the gloves, for example, can't be shoulder long, since they'd probably clip terribly with any other armor. The pauldrons need to fit to a different helm and so on. Oh shit, I clicked once little. I'm sorry, there's 0.9. Alright, we got our lore, we got our limitations, so all we need now is some inspiration. And I get how this step might feel like stealing, and if you just copy someone, it is stealing. But don't forget, art inspires art, and this is about orientation and being inspired. Additionally, sometimes you might stumble over actual historical real-world examples, which will help your design to feel so much more real and credible. Some things I searched for were leather armor, bone armor, Bosmer, Bosmer logo, because Elder Scrolls Online just invented so many Bosmer logos. Or just logos in general, it's great. They need affection for everything, and you can just pick and choose from there. So this chart here, or this image here, is what I came up with after some Googling. And to be honest, I still have no idea what I want to do. Currently, I'm certain that coming up with a light armor with no cloth and no padding will just be a nightmare. But that's why we have the next step. Silhouettes. Just Silhouettes. No pesky details, no neatly drawn pouches, just a big brush and some explorations. Also, when I do an armor design, at least for the first iterations, I like to draw on top of the in-game character mesh. It just saves you so much time, no need to think about anatomy or proportions, you can just start. And even these simple silhouettes already tell us a few things about the design, if you recall the rules. They all feel like light armors, weight-wise, and they seem generally climate neutral. After creating a decent amount of silhouettes, I started looking more into the shapes. And I did a really poor job doing so. As you can tell, they look interesting, but overall, they read messy. And I'm not happy with any design. And maybe, since it's so hard to tell from this, you're wondering, what's a shape? Well, I enhanced the last version I did and tried to call out all the triangles I made. For unifying design, having certain shapes which repeat in the design is good. It's just how our brain works. For example, the Nordic wingmail armor I showed you before, for the longest time, I had the protection on the legs squarish, while everything else started to read round. And the more I went forward, the less it fit. So I added the round leg protection, which also resembles Celtic knots, and it just reads so much more pleasant now. Also, at this point, I've been on this design for 4.5 hours, and I still have no clue what to do with this task. And since I'm an idiot and don't listen to my own advices, time management wise, this is already nightmare since this very talk is merely 36 hours away from happening. I just made this 1.5 days ago. So this is me at 4 a.m. questioning my choices. So, don't be like me, be smart about your time management. Okay, so shapes. Shapes are neat. Explore which might fit your design idea best and find a fitting shape for the character or item you are designing. Good shape language can elevate your design to ridiculous heights, and I absolutely recommend you look into the topic well beyond this talk. Also, your shapes don't need to stay super simple. Add a twist to it. It's really about exploration and experimentation. Alright, we got a silhouette and we're starting to develop a main shape. But I'm still making fun of adding details. So when will I finally start adding details? Well, listen, the thing with details is they're complicated. This is a screenshot from an FTD school video about silhouettes and details, and I absolutely recommend checking it out sometime. The levels, the levels of details are silhouette and detail. I'm sorry, I have a script. I'm reading this out. The levels of details are silhouette, big shapes or secondary details, and tertiary or third level details. Secondary details influence the silhouette. Tertiary details are so minuscule they do nothing for the silhouette. Most details which a beginner would consider a big difference in the design are actually super meaningless. And I'm speaking from experience. I did the same thing when I started out. Since we are currently still developing the overall silhouette and main shapes, adding details now would just be lost time. A pouch here and an additional belt there, neither of them will really change the base design. And chances are the big shapes will change again and the small details will be erased. So at this stage, don't even bother. So let's play a game. This is one of the silhouettes I just created, just, 4 times. And this is a more detailed secondary stage I made. And well, there are really a lot of tertiary details in there already. I need to clean up my work process too. But I snuck even more tertiary details in there. Can you see them? This is just about seeing how little some things change the overall design. And I want you to understand this because if we check this, the nonsense I threw in on top of the nonsense. This is why I always try to motivate everyone in the concept art channel to think big. Stay clear of the details in the beginning and concentrate on diverse silhouettes and shapes. Because these super small details should be saved for the absolutely last step, because they just change too little for the overall design. Okay, back to the green pact armor. I distilled the 8 designs I did before down into 4, mixing and matching around, trying to clean up the shapes. So let me go through my thought process with you. So the first one is yucky. It's a chaotic mess, and I don't like it. Looks more like a force run from Skyrim than anything else. So that's a nope. It would be too loud and clunky when sneaking around, and the long skirt might get caught up in the dense Walnwood fauna. I do like the second one, but it just feels too Akaviri to me. Too much East Asian. Also, I envision the squares to be bones, and this is supposed to be light armor. And in Elder Scrolls logic, bones are used for heavy armor. So, two are remaining. And here's the problem, I like and hate both of them. They both have their strengths and weaknesses. The first one looks a bit too modern and slick. Also, the shapes are still messy. I have no real idea what to do with the torso beneath the white breast guard. The fourth one is easily my favorite, but it doesn't look Bosmer. Bosmer are like cliche wood elves. Meanwhile, this reminds me of something a Khajiit or someone from High Rock would wear. More of a Middle East influence. So, what do? I invested 6.5 hours so far and still nothing. So I did what every reasonable person would do, gave up, and went watching anime. So thanks for coming to my TED Talk. No, of course, I continued. And I meshed up number 3 and 4 into each other. I changed the master shapes of both a bit and tried to harmonize everything. And this is the power of using the same anatomy model beneath your designs. Matching different things would have been hell if I had drawn elaborate poses for every iteration. So let's check the rules again. What did we fulfill yet? What's still outstanding? Where did we break the law? It's still obviously a light armor. It's unique, it's for neutral climate, and this armor would work in a set. So the antlers might actually break the rules regarding the sneakiness. I might have to get rid of them after all, but it's something I will determine in the next step. So after roughly 9 hours, this is what we got. I like parts of it, but some things are too busy. Basically, everything below the waist needs some touch up. Also, I like the idea that the bib might be able to be flapped up and worn like a veil. It won't have any function in game, it's just kind of neat. I like functionality in my designs. And this is after roughly 30 more minutes. As you can hopefully see, the design is much calmer now. Your eye can rest on certain bigger shapes, but it still has a few nice details. That's a really important point. Adding some bigger shapes so the eye can rest. You need to balance these big and small areas. Also, I'm still not doing any fancy line work. Still no color, hardly any shading. Also, I decided that the deer skull stays. I like the deer skull. So now I usually start adding descriptions for 3D and for realism's sake. In what order do they get dressed? Which layer is above which layer, and so on. Don't forget to and another important thing, because now we're starting thinking of the 3D people besides Zig, who always ignores all my designs, but normal thinking 3D people. You need to be consistent, and this is actually something which just came up last night in the concept art channel here on ZayU, and I talked with Nariel about it. You need to be consistent enough that 3D gets what you want to do. Um, because there's a chance the 3D person will copy what you create one by one, like the same exact thing. So at some point, you just need to start being accurate. Also, usually I would make a view from behind, but I kinda don't feel like that, doing that, to be honest. Let's imagine there's a back view, okay? Let's all close our eyes and imagine how great the back looks. So, congratulations. You did it. You made it to the end of the journey. We did a concept art. It's important to describe the used material and generally, before you call it quits, ask whoever is going to work with this next if they need anything else. Something better described, a functionality, more detailed shown, anything like that. You know, you work in a team and you should anyway always talk with people around you. And while we're here, let's check the rules one more time. Is it a light armor? Yes. Increases sneak? Sure. If the coder enables it, it will increase sneak. Unique? Yeah, sure. Probably unique. Old? Kinda. I added some destroyed parts, like the left arm lost the armor basically entirely, and there are some holes and dirt all over the armor. Also moss, and the moss is not to be harmed. It has decided to grow there, and in line with the Green Pact, you're not allowed to harm the moss. It needs to stay on the armor. It's found in an old tree, and it's hard to get. Maybe it's, yeah, sure, that depends on the landscaper, really. To be honest, some rules turned out to be nonsense in the end. Sorry about that. But I just kept it in because, I don't know. Why lie now that I'm more organized than I actually am? It's nonsense. Neutral climate. I guess this looks pretty neutral, you know? Uses only animal products. Yes. Armor must work with other sets. Actually, the veil might be a nightmare with some other armors. It might lead to terrible clipping, and implementation would probably kill me for this. So I would probably have to shorten the veil a good bit amount so it stays more in the helmed area. So in the end, I worked around 10 hours on this design. It's far from perfect. The kneecaps still don't make any sense, and I could have pushed some aspects a bit more. Some rules turned out to make no sense either. It's just hard to judge your own creations. When I do a design for Skyrim, I actually always ask another lead to feedback me because I just don't trust my own feedback on my own stuff. But I didn't want to bother them with this because everyone's busy anyway. So I guess most of you know the feeling of it's really hard to judge your own stuff. So you can always come to us and we will feedback you. We will help you. Um, yeah, and I mostly wanted to show you my process. Be really honest about the problematic parts and encourage you not to give up just because something doesn't work out right away. Because that just happens. For Skywind, some armors took like 40 to 50 different iterations until we found the right design. And I kind of yeah, I'm serious. 40 to 50 iterations. Sometimes it hurts a bit. So yeah, we're done. Thank you for enduring me. I hope you learned something. I hope this was all right. I had a script for the first time because I thought last time I was fishing for words too much. And yeah, we're done. You can ask questions now. And for the remaining 25 minutes, I will just start drawing the backside while we talk. So let me switch to Photoshop. All right, kids, we're done. Here's my Photoshop. Talk to me.
That was a
Jeez, anyone's still awake?
fantastic lecture.
That was
Thank
awesome.
you, Dal.
Yeah.
Great lecture.
That was great.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
really
Great job.
wonderful.
Thanks for all the bashing, Del.
Yeah, no problem. You're welcome.
Okay.
Also, just to show you, this is the sheet I worked with all the time. So I like to have these ridiculously big Photoshop sheets where I just smash everything into. So I always have just everything together.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah, it works out really well.
Yeah,
It's
it's
an
pretty nice.
abomination.
Yeah, well, sometimes Discord has issues when I post like a 50 billion by 50 billion pixel image into Discord, but besides that, it works pretty well. Yeah, I don't know if there are any questions. If so, please ask. So
You said the kneecaps didn't make sense. Why did you say that?
actually, I did so sneakily. After writing my script, I actually did go back a little bit and started editing them. So let me scroll back the time a bit on this one. So let's see. Let's look at the OG stuff I made. So this is how it looks before when I actually finished the script. But like last night, where I thought like maybe I can make it a bit different so I don't look like a complete fool being like a concept art lead for Skyrim, not being able to pull off a mildly proper concept. So, I started digging around and trying different things and especially playing around with the stupid kneecaps because I don't know. I think with every design you will have like this one thing you hate. And you will have this one thing you love. And I really loved my stupid deer skull, so I kept the stupid deer skull, even though in the design it probably doesn't make much sense, but it stays. And as you can see, if I flipped through my layers here, the stupid kneecaps definitely were were my hate point here. Because I don't know, I just would love to have a better finish for the designs on here. Yeah. I don't know. What do the numbers do here? Sheesh. And yeah, consistency, like I said, is also super important. Don't underestimate that. Man, this is one messy file right here. Jeez. What did I do here? Phew. What? I actually wanted to start back view for this one while we're talking. If someone still talks to me.
What software do
Wait.
you use?
Oh, I use Photoshop. So I'm actually subscribed to Photoshop because, when I was a kid, Photoshop costs thousands of dollars. So, I might have been a pirate when I was 11, but now I actually do pay for my Photoshop. It's just like $10 a month, and that's a lot more reasonable than the old prices, definitely.
For sure.
Yeah. But like I said, same thing like with the art school thing. Today, like in the last 20 years, so much changed. There are great YouTube tutorials. You don't necessarily need to subscribe to a certain school anymore where you pay money. There's great free software. Like a lot of people use Critter nowadays, or oh shit, what's the other name?
Clip
Clip
Studio.
Studio Paint. Yeah, Clip
Yeah.
Studio Paint apparently is great too.
I think
I
that's
never
even
tried
on
this
sale right
one,
now.
Hmm?
But I think that's actually on sale right now. If I go quickly.
Yeah,
So
I
it's a
heard
good.
great things about it.
Yeah. For example, just that it's one pay. Sorry, it's a one-time payment and not a subscription like Photoshop. Like I have the whole Adobe Cloud, which I need to change that, and it costs me about $50 per month, and that is a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. Yeah, as soon as you need more than just Photoshop, you kind of getting screwed by them.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true. Yeah. I wish they would offer like pick 2 different or 3 softwares for $20 or something like that. But who really needs all of them?
Yeah.
Most of the time it's just not necessary.
Yeah, especially things like Lightroom or it's like even Animate, even Animate. It's like
Yeah.
Flash is dead now, so that's pretty much a completely useless piece of software here.
Also, something I completely ignored with the design. I don't know if you noticed. Does anyone know how this person is getting into this armor? like she looks like she's welded or tailored into the armor. And
I
she's
mean,
never
it's
take it
it's
off.
Skyrim, it's all a little magical.
Yeah,
we
I know, it's
don't
magical.
question it.
But I actually like to have this bit of realism. So last night for the back view, I thought it might be good to have like, after all, have like some belts here. So there's at least the tiny bit of pretense that a human being or an elf or whoever could actually get into this. Even if they can't get into it alone, it's more like a straitjacket, like something that's put on from behind. But at least there's some kinds of realism in there, so you can, put it on somehow. Also for Skyrim nowadays, since we are going to do separated pauldrons, I always need to draw everything without the pauldron. So 3D actually has to also create everything beneath the pauldron and the pauldron from all sides, so it works with other armors. So, that's why it's really important to ask the 3D person, what do you need for me? What do you want? Do I need to, and to what point will you actually design this mesh or create this mesh?
That's why it's also a great idea for 2D artists to also pick up 3D and at least learn, the basics of 3D modeling, I think.
Oh yeah, I learned so much while I picked up Blender, and just texturing. Like as a 2D artist, it's also worth just understanding how a texture works, understanding how a mesh works. You just make better designs because you understand the needs of the
Definitely.
3D artist so much more.
Yeah, you know exactly what goes into the actual workflow for the 3D artist and the restrictions that you need to keep in mind.
Yeah, because otherwise, you might just create stuff in a vacuum. If you don't look to the left and right. Also, you need to have an overview what other 2D artists are doing. On Skywind, when I did wingmail armor, we actually had another person also doing a Nordic armor. And if they would have just ended up also like having this really round design where everything is just nice and round and warm, we don't need two armors of that kind. So you need to okay, can you go more the squarish way, or more of an not this pleasant roundness, do something else, or we will have too much of the same armor in, and why do that?
Yeah, exactly. You need to make sure that your asset is actually unique to your project.
Also, I'm sorry, was completely incompetent to read anything in stream, so in the channel. So if you have any questions, maybe repeat them again because I wasn't able to read them. I see Zig's word a lot. My bad.
I think we were mainly just celebrating, the anime and the memes and stuff.
Yeah, I try to be, try to keep the entertainment level
It
up.
was really entertaining. It was great.
Yeah, it was.
I love
I'm
it.
glad it worked. I wasn't sure if my boomer memes would still be hit with the Zoomers.
It was
I know
great.
I don't know if people still know Dragon Ball. Like I know I'm old.
It's, I think they do know that. At least I hope so.
I also
Someone would have
man, I
gotten
don't
it.
know.
I mean, I know it. That's enough.
Well, as a non-boomer myself, I can surely say yes, Dragon Ball is still a thing here.
Okay,
Good.
good. Good thing Dragon Ball is still with us in 2021. Yeah, my drawing process isn't terribly interesting, but I thought, well, at least do something for the last minutes. It's hard to fill in the whole hour. I'm sorry.
It's great to see how you actually do it.
Oh
Doesn't
yeah, right.
Photoshop
Also,
have like a symmetry tool that you could have used for the vest?
it does. Yeah, it does. But honestly, I don't know why I'm a sucker. I know. I just like I said, I don't listen to my own advices. So I know I just said oh, be quick. No. But sometimes I often do this after I do two sides and I notice, oh, the left side is nicer than the right side. So I just, copy one side over the other and then have a nice one directly. But just to keep it, a bit painterly, I sometimes, let's see, I did work kind of
It was
accurate.
very close, yeah.
Still kind of it, yeah. Well, not here anymore. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Did I shovel a grave for myself? So this is the left arm and this is the right arm. So this one here is the one with armor. No, I need to turn it off because this is the one with the armor on it. Also, I know I don't want to make so many lines, but I'm just so used to just like implying form that I always start adding these immediately. It's a tick. Can't stop.
It's a good one though.
Can't even stop me. Oops. So yeah, if you want to get into concept art or drawing, join us in the concept art channel, people. It's fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll try to not bite. No promises.
Yeah, we try, Emphasis on trying. Also, the headpiece is weird. Like, it's a complete piece, I think, and there's this flap bulging out, but it's still like it's not a normal hood. It's not attached to anything. It's just like this thing. It's weird. This is
Well, that's
definitely something I would have to like describe better for 3D, or they'd be like, what is that? How do I even?
yeah. Well, sometimes you just need to get an idea down on the paper, and then, then it's
Yeah.
there, and somebody else can just tell you, no, that looks terrible.
Yeah, that's fine. Like I said, I was too incompetent to start this early enough to actually get feedback. Nariel did offer her help, but did feel bad to just jump at her in the very last second. So I just kept it with my own opinion.
Do you even consider the color of the design while you work, or do you decide that last?
The color?
Yeah, the colors.
No, not at all. Like I don't care. I really just want to. I don't know. It's just so easily. That's a good thing about Photoshop. Once I'm actually at the stage where I can start thinking about colors, I can slap on one color and then I move the sliders and then I have different colors and it's done in so many variations done in 3 seconds. It's just not worth thinking about it before.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
so
for
quick.
this one, I was a bit more limited since it's all leather, which is really kinky. But this just forces me to use, certain colors. I know leather can be colored, but I didn't want to use heavily colored leather. Just as a personal taste. Should probably more floppy. But so yeah, this is just one piece you put on like a sag, like a really weird sag. Oop. Yeah, Pixel Slayer, you can absolutely criticize it. It's so fine. Like I have no emotional attachment to this armor. Don't worry. You should never have emotional attachment to something. If someone gives you good constructive criticism, it might sting, but you should always in some way accept it. It just helps you so much more to accept criticism over blatantly rejecting it and screaming, "No, that's my style. You need to accept my style." It just won't help you to develop any further to reject it. Of course, there are people which are really bad at giving criticism and just, are poopy people and just mean. You don't have to take those serious, but if it's honest, good criticism, just, accept it no matter how much it hurts. So go ham. Take the thing apart. It's completely fine. I know it's not perfect by any chance.
Yeah, that goes with
Like,
any game development art, I think, really too. It's really, really, really important. Like feedback is probably half a better, like,
Definitely.
yeah.
I just want to mention, I think so. The hut looks great, but if you're eating something, it's gonna be in your stew all the time.
Oh yeah. No, this is like this is a bib for like babies, so you don't
Yeah.
accidentally make your
Working
armor
as
dirty.
intended.
Yeah, it's working as intended. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Also the good
It's
thing
a
is
feature, not a bug.
you
Yeah.
have like meat sauce here and blood because they basically just eat blood, and you can just slap it up there, and you can then you can like munch on it while you go. It's great. That's the design. You can munch on the go.
But this is actually an excellent point because you sometimes need to think about the applications of what you're doing. You need to come up with weird ideas for how you can use your armor and what is the purpose and stuff like that.
Yeah, also I really love the idea that you're just entering Valenwood, and it's like this weird elf person is there munching on some people they just murdered.
Here's a question: like, what if the player has a beard? How are you gonna stop it from clipping through?
Yeah, that's why I'm not letting it flap down. I don't know to what extent the Skywind beers extend. That's a great way to say it. Are they like are they oh god, I don't remember the Skyrim beards at all. Are they like super long? Is there a beard which is like
I think it
full?
depends, because
Yeah.
on your other sketch there, it looks like they also have a
Mm.
mask over their face. So you would maybe just remove the beard, like
Yeah.
replace the whole mesh with the mask.
But I really like the idea of the beard going over it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, this is
Badass.
something implementation would murder me for again.
I know.
Let me
I know. There's a new mod for somebody. I can't remember his name, but he made a new beard mod, and it's fucking awesome. It's so rad.
I think there was Beards of Skyrim actually.
Is that
Yeah.
the one where there's one with like dragons intertwined in it? It's super huge.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
are versions with I think even skulls in it. Wait, I think I have the tab open actually. I can just look that up. I have way above 100 tabs open right now. So it's just I must search. I'm gonna give you feedback. Wait a second.
Yeah, this mod sounds
Actually-
right up my brother's alley.
let me read Pixel Slayer's critic for a second. He said, okay, so regarding the back view you're drawing, it looks more like clothing, medieval stays untangled than actual chest armor. Since it's a light armor, it focuses on mobility. Mobility means running away from troubles should there be a need. When you're running away, your back is exposed to attackers, so just a well-placed arrow could pierce your character, and then it's game over if you're going for realism. The back should cover just as much as the front. Yes, you are absolutely right with that. Can't deny that. So I guess I would go like for my wingmail I made. The wingmail armor actually opens and closes on the side, so like over here, which also was an idea I had to just do it here again, because so then the back can be snugly protected over here. Yeah, you're absolutely right, but that's why you gotta listen, and it's really important to just look into real world armors too. Even if it's like the most high fantasy armor you're designing, still check on the real world stuff because you will most definitely learn something from there. So you would just like slide into your armor from the side. It's opened here, which is actually like not that unusual. They're definitely, especially in LARP. Like LARP is a bit of a thing between reality and fantasy, and there are some armors which just open at one side, and then you just slither your way in there, so it fits neatly, and then you can close it here. Or you could just have, on both sides. I think this is what I did for the ring mail. You can just have openings on both sides and you just put it over you, close the two sides, and you're rather well protected. Yeah. So good point, Pixel Slayer. Also, I'm serious with this messiness. Like, I am so messy when I work. And it's really not a problem because when you work digitally, you can just dim the transparency. Like, I put this down and take a new, and then I just quickly start going over it again, it immediately starts being. But I don't want to break up my creativity process by starting to be neat all of a sudden and tidy and all that nonsense being tidy. Sheesh. You saw my table. I'm not tidy. Also, no cat interference. I'm happy.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to get the ideas. Your first job is to just generate ideas and then put them on paper. It doesn't matter really if it works, if it's realistic. You just need to get them down, and then you can start trimming away the fat and the uselessness and the refining things, I think.
Yeah. Also, there's always a chance that you make something and your concept lead hates it. So
Yeah.
why invest the time? It's just
Yeah,
not
exactly.
worth it. It's just a general thing. Like that's such a huge difference from artwork or anything. In artwork, you just spend like 90% of the time on the thumbnail to just get the overall feeling right, and after that, it's the actual image gets done 99%, but your mental process stopped like 80 hours ago, because once you have the thumbnail down, everything else is just muscle memory. So
Certainly,
that's
yeah.
just so completely different for concept art, because for concept art you always need to stay really vigilant about the design. Always being ready to think, oh my god, this is so much better. I need to overthrow all of it, but this will be worth it.
Yeah,
The Beard of
exactly.
Power mod. That sounds interesting. Yeah, see, I always play female characters, so my
Yeah, me
view is
too.
actually super limited. So I entirely forgot that there are human beings which have beards. I just forgot about it, you know? That's probably why second opinions are really good, especially, this whole diversity in gaming industry thing. I guess it's unique that a woman forgets that man and beard exist, but still, it's good to have people with other backgrounds and other life experiences view what you do and say like, oh yeah, did you forget X? Did you forget Y? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, you need to get a second opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I'll do better for the next time and get a second opinion and start earlier. Oh my god.
No, you did great for
Like,
Yeah, this is
demonstration purposes. This is
like
perfect.
yesterday, Pat pinged everyone, was like, hey, don't forget in 24 hours it's the Atom Talk. I was like, oh my god, I need to finish the thing.
Mild
Freaking
panic.
out. Mild panic, yeah, definitely. So yeah, I think my time is up. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for enduring me, and I will give the presentation to someone so we can maybe link it on the YouTube video or something. I don't know how to do that, to be honest.
yeah, you can do whatever you want. I'll run the
Yeah.
description by you, and you can link whatever you want in the description.
Okay, great. Sounds neat. All right, then everyone have fun with the other talks and see you around, because I need to go to work now.